Hey everyone, welcome to the channel and another review. I just got back from seeing Aline at the theater, so let's talk about it. And just to start off with a synopsis. So with the support of her family and the man she loves, the 14th child of a modest family will become the most famous singer in the world. So my background and anticipation coming into this movie it was not really all that much. I think I saw one trailer for this in the recent weeks, so I was aware of the movie, and yeah, it looked interesting enough being a basically a biopic for Celine Dion. Now they change up the names of, her character and all the other characters, but it is essentially a biopic about her. And, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Celine Dion, but I know who she is, and I think of the music, the limited music that I've heard of hers, I've enjoyed. So I was interested to see it just as a movie about her. So with that, let's talk about my thoughts on the film. And to start off, for the things that I liked about the film, I think the main thing that I enjoyed was just at the core of it, this is really a, romance film. And it's about the relationship between Aline and her, eventual husband. And I thought that the yeah, it was interesting seeing what could have been, and I think is in a lot of situations what turns out to be a very unhealthy relationship and abusive relationship. It in this case wasn't, and I can only hope that that was the case in real life. I assume that it was, and if it wasn't, it wouldn't have necessarily made it into a movie like this. But seeing an unconventional or non-traditional sort of relationship between a much older man and a much younger woman, and somebody that he knew from when she was 12 years old, I think, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't approve of that, and you do see that throughout the movie. But to see that it actually does work out, I think is a really powerful message to, not just judge things at their surface. And I mean, there's certainly a lot of justified concern in situations like that. But I think, yeah, it was interesting to see how I think both characters in the movie handled it appropriately, and that it had a happy resolution ultimately. So I think that was the main thing that I liked about the film. I thought both of the main characters were acted very well, both Aline and I think his name is Guy Claude. So I thought they just played both their characters very well, and it was, interesting to see them kind of go throughout life, because this movie takes place over many, many years. And yeah, I thought it was just nice to see them kind of live. It felt like a realistic sort of life that we were watching, and it wasn't just necessarily a movie. But those are the few things that I liked about the film. There's a few negatives that I have as well. I thought, just kind of being nitpicky on the technical aspect, I'm pretty sure I don't know if they did some de-aging, but it felt like they just kind of cropped and photoshopped the actress's head onto younger bodies, sort of like what they did with Captain America and the first Avenger before he gets the super soldier serum. But it looked pretty weird, seeing the adult actress's face on bodies that were children. So I didn't think that worked particularly well. I also didn't really care for. I mean, I imagine it's fairly true to the real life person, but I didn't really care for the overbearing kind of helicopter mom in the story. I thought her character was fairly annoying, actually. But I mean, again, it's a realistic take. There are those people out there. It just having to sit through a movie where, and the scenes that she was in, I just didn't really care for her character, so it lessened my personal enjoyment of it. And then the last thing that I didn't really care for in the film, or that was just kind of in the mixed bag, is while the I think the story that's being told, it was very interesting to learn about. I looked it up afterwards, at least according to Wikipedia. Pretty much from what I could tell, the story is true to real events, and so it was interesting learning about Celine Dion. It's not a story that I had been familiar with, so just seeing everything that she had to go through, like I can't imagine some of the things that like just being a singer and having to lose your voice for, I think Wikipedia said 3 weeks. In the film, it's 3 months, but just not being able to talk for 3 months, whether that's talking or singing, I can only imagine. It's like, and then that's just one example, but there's so many obstacles that I think she had to overcome that it's just impressive to see her standing at the end of the day. And I think that's a core message of the film. But at the same time, I think grading this as a film, and it lessens the sort of interest of it as a movie and kind of the drama if your main character doesn't really ever make any mistakes. So there's like a lot of trials and difficulties that she faces, and that was interesting to learn about. But as far as being a character, she never really messes up. She kind of handles it as best she can, and that sort of thing. So I thought that just made for a less interesting movie overall that, could have otherwise maybe been more engaging. Just like looking at other biopics where the main character, they've got problems that are kind of self-imposed, and I think that just makes for a more interesting story. But yeah, with that, I think that kind of wraps up all of my thoughts coming out of the film. Overall, I would give this a low B. I was kind of meh coming out of the film. I think there's things that are well done in it. I mean, it's nothing to write home about as far as the technical stuff, like the filmography and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was interesting enough to see and just to learn about the story, so I appreciated that. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's a solid B. In like these days we get so many biopics, and this one I don't think stands out amongst the others. Where since it's like I think overly saturated, you got to make an even movie that stands out even more to actually stand out, which I don't think this movie does. But yeah, it's not a bad film though, so I wouldn't say don't go see it if you're interested to go see it, but it's not one that I would necessarily recommend. But yeah, with that wraps up this review. It's, at the end of the day, a movie that held my interest, but not one that I'm going to look to be rewatching. So if you saw it, definitely let me know what your thoughts were down in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, if you've enjoyed this review, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe so you don't miss my other reviews. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.